Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel for another video today. I'm excited about this one because I am finally going to be answering all of y'all's most asked questions here in one video. I have been on Mounjaro, Zepbound, or Zepatide, whatever you want to call it, for weight loss for almost 2 years now. At this point, it'll be 2 years in November since I started Mounjaro and started posting here on this channel. And there are certain questions that I get asked over and over and over again. And some of them pertain to me, some of them pertain to Mounjaro, Zepbound in general. But I'm gonna answer them all today because I've been putting it off long enough, and I just want to be able to source all of the answers in one video and refer back to it when needed. I think that would be easier for everybody involved. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into the things that you guys ask me the most. So the first little section of questions here, we are going to focus mostly or all on me, things that people ask me about me. So the first question that I get asked all the time, which I've answered this a lot before. If you're a regular viewer, you probably know, but it was, am I diabetic? Was I ever diabetic? Was I pre-diabetic? Did I have diabetes? And that answer is no. So I did not. And that's the short answer. That's the answer, I guess. But when I started Mounjaro, it was still a very new thing for weight loss. It was all very new, and it wasn't as much of an issue of like a shortage of supplies of diabetics being able to get their medication. And so I kind of snuck it in a time where it was still readily available, and I wasn't like taking from anybody who needed it. And so no, I was not a diabetic. I'm not one. Hopefully never will be one. There's that. Number 2 is what my weight was when I started Mounjaro and what it is currently. So when I started Mounjaro, so like the doctor's appointment that I went to right before getting on it, I was 229 pounds. But most of you know that I had a tummy tuck in May of 2022, so about 6 months before starting Mounjaro. And at that point, like at the consult for that tummy tuck appointment, I was 247 pounds. So when I talk about like how much weight I've lost, I consider that like the start of it at my weight loss. So that's kind of where I was in the beginning. I am now currently weighing anywhere between 165 and 167. I'm going to be doing a video very shortly. I'm still waiting on a few blood work results of the blood work that was done right when I started Mounjaro and the blood work that was done recently, like within the last couple of weeks, so that we can kind of see like how everything has changed, and not necessarily just the weight, because it's important to look at everything. The next question about me that I get asked very often, like a lot, is if I count calories. So I do not, and I never have, and I hope to never, I have, but never have since starting Mounjaro, and I hope to never have to again. I am somebody that I come from a past childhood that makes it so if I limit anything too much, or if I get too strict in any area of my life, it actually has like the opposite effect on me. And I get really like, I go the complete opposite way of what I'm trying to do. So if I restrict my calories, if I get on too strict of a budget, if I tell myself, if I set myself on any type of regimen, you can pretty much guarantee that I'm gonna do the opposite of whatever it is. So I have always found in my life that a more balanced approach is what's best for me, and counting calories does nothing for me except really increase my anxiety overall and cause me to binge. So I do not count calories. I have not counted them. I have honestly not noticed a need to count them within Mounjaro. It's just, I have personally not noticed it. I know a lot of people do, so you gotta do what's right for you. Okay, so I think those are all the questions that I get asked like about me specifically, but there are a few more that kind of obtain to me and kind of don't. So the next one is, what do I pay for Mounjaro and how have I sourced it? So when I first started Mounjaro, I actually was one of the extremely lucky ones that was able to get the coupon for $25. So for the first, it was November through June, I actually paid $25 a month for my Mounjaro, and I did not realize at the time just how lucky I was, because after that, the price was like 10 times worse. So I was paying $25, and then the new coupon came out and it actually made it $5.50, and that would vary month to month depending on the cost of Mounjaro, like if the price changed. So 1 month it was as low as like $450, and then $5.50 was where it kind of settled and where it stayed for the majority of the time that I was on the branded Mounjaro. Like the rest of the time I was on that. Now, when I was paying $5.50, I was taking my shot every 2 weeks. I was taking a 10 milligram shot every 2 weeks, or 12 and a half even every 2 weeks. And so I was really paying about $275 a month because I would only go pick it up every other month. It made it cheaper for me, and in my mind, it helped with shortage issues more because I was getting it half the amount of time. Probably didn't make any difference, but to me it did. So then in March, I believe, of this year, I actually ended up switching to compounded tirzepatide. And there were a couple of reasons for that. And that goes into my next question of why did I switch? The number one reason was shortage issues. I have always said since the very beginning that I pride myself in being a pretty moral person. And if it got to a point where I felt like I was taking it from others who needed it more, whether it be for weight loss or for diabetes or for whatever, that I would switch to a different way. And that is what I did. So that was the main reason, actually, the shortage. I personally could not find it back in March. I had called my pharmacy and several other pharmacies around for weeks trying to source it, and I was not able to source anything. And so I took the leap. I did a lot of research, and I decided to switch over to Orderly Meds. One of you guys are actually the ones that sent me all of the initial information about Orderly, which I am eternally grateful for because I've loved them. There's a link to them in the description box, a referral code, where you can, this month actually, which they just texted me about, you can get $50 off your first month. And then I think I get a $50 credit as well. You don't have to use that, but it's always in the description box. And I don't work with them. I'm not sponsored by them. They don't know who I am. Well, I mean, they might, but like, in regular times. So that is why I switched. Mostly it was the shortage, because it actually was not cheaper for me in the beginning to switch to compounded, because they charge $399 a month for whatever dose you're on. And that is more expensive than the $275 per month that I was paying. So it really was a little bit pricier in the beginning, but thanks to all of you guys, your amazingness, I have been able to get it cheaper now at this point from you guys using my referral, which again, eternally grateful for. Y'all don't know how much I love you and appreciate you and are so thankful for everything you've done for me. So now I do get it cheaper than even the $275 that I was paying in the beginning. So at this point, I'm kind of back to like the initial pricing, or much closer to the initial pricing than I was in the beginning, or like when I was still unbranded. You know what I'm saying? So that's the main reason I switched. It wasn't necessarily anything else. Sticking on the compounded talk, do I think that compounded tirzepatide works as good as branded Mounjaro? This is a question I get asked a lot. I get emails almost daily asking if I have noticed a difference between the branded Mounjaro Zepbound pens and the compounded tirzepatide. And I want to say first, before answering like my personal experience, that it is my personal experience on this, and that everybody is going to be different, because you can go on the Orderly Facebook support group and very easily find 3 or 4 different posts of one person saying it works better, one person saying it works worse, somebody saying they don't notice anything, somebody saying it's better than. You're gonna notice a wide realm of people, or a wide scope of people talking about different experiences with it. But as far as my personal experience goes, I have not noticed a difference. I have continued since going on the branded or the the compound, I have lost an additional almost 10 pounds, not even meaning to. So when I started in March on compound, I weighed 174, 175. And like I said, I'm 165 and 167 now. So I've lost an additional almost 10 pounds since being on compounded. And I particularly, the only difference that I have noticed is actually a good one in my opinion, and that is less side effects. I have less of the insomnia. If you have been around, you know that I've had a lot of insomnia issues. Since starting Mounjaro, the first day or two after my pen, I would never sleep. I'd be tossing and turning all night long. But on the compounded, I actually don't notice that as much. I do a little bit the night of my shot, especially if I take the shot at night. But I do want to say that could also have something to do with it. I used to take my shot right before bed, and now I take it mid-afternoon. So that could have something to do with that as well. But I don't notice as much of the insomnia. And I actually notice a lot less constipation issues. So there's that. But other than that, the appetite suppression is the same. The food noise issue is the same. I do find that I occasionally will want something, whereas before I didn't. So I might want to have a piece of cake or whatever, but I still can't eat very much of it. So it doesn't bother me that I not even craved it, just kind of was oh, that sounds good. I might have a bite or two of that. Whereas when I was on the pen Mounjaro, if I would go to a birthday party, I would not even go near a piece of cake because it wouldn't even be on my realm. So I guess there is a little bit less food noise suppression, but I've always said that I feel like that's a good thing, because if you are somebody that plans to at some point get off of this medication, you are gonna want to learn to deal with some food noise, which is why if you've done losing weight and you're going back down levels, if you're going the opposite titration direction, you want to have, less and less of the effects overall, so that if your goal is to get off of it, so that you can adjust your brain to that new normal or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of what my thoughts are on it. I don't know. I feel like it works just the same. And quite honestly, with all of the shortage issues, I wish I had switched to it a long time before, so that I didn't have to source it consistently all the time. Because that was very nerve-wracking. I know a lot of you know that feeling, every month having to block out several hours of your day to be able to source out your medication. On that note, if you are still on the brand new medication, I want to know how that's going for you, because I've not personally tried to get it within the last, since March. So I want to know how you're doing on that. If you're able to source it a lot quicker, if you're still having a lot of trouble, if you're having to call multiple pharmacies, let me know down below, because I would love to know how that's going for you guys. So that's a question I get a lot. Do I feel like compounded works better? Or the same or whatever. The next questions, we're gonna get into more side effects, how to deal with certain side effects. So the number one question regarding side effects that I get is constipation and how to fight that. I know that a lot of people struggle with constipation. I think it's one of the most common side effects, along with nausea and vomiting, is constipation. Just stomach upset in general is so common with these medications. And the constipation one's not easy or not hard to kind of put that together in your mind. If it's slowing down all of your digestion in your stomach, holding food in your stomach longer, then it's slowing it all down. The whole process is going slower, right? So for me personally, the thing that has helped the most, two things that have helped the most, are taking vitamin B12, which can also help you with nausea and vomiting. If you have nausea, that's actually the most common thing that's recommended, is to take B12. But I also found that it has helped me with my constipation, taking a Colace tablet every single day. I took it most often in the beginning. I don't necessarily have to take that as much now. I just had two Labradors run down the stairs. I guess they were done playing up there. And now they're both, there's one and there's two. Hopefully they're semi-calm. Piper girl, come here. This is the culprit, aren't you? Okay, so Colace, vitamin B12, and then drinking a ton of water, so much water, more water than you think you need, will keep you a lot more regular, and it'll just make you feel better overall. it'll just make you feel better overall if you, it's my life. If it's not kids, it's dogs. But yeah, this will just make you feel better overall if you drink a ton of water. So constipation, I understand. I've been there. Those big things will help you. As far as the nausea and vomiting go, the vitamin B12, vomiting I never struggle with, so I can't speak to that, but I did have nausea. And what worked for me, which is like, I know a little bit counterintuitive, but it was to make sure that there was always something on my stomach, because I feel like the decreased appetite would often lead to you not eating enough, and then you would have like low blood sugar and you would feel bad and feel more nauseous, and it was kind of this cycle that kept repeating itself. So trying to eat something and keeping something in your stomach is really helpful. If it's in the first few days of your shots, protein shakes are very helpful for this. That is pretty much what I lived on. You guys remember the Vital Proteins collagen? Put it in my coffee every single morning just so that I wouldn't have this like blood sugar crash and then be nauseous and all of the things. Another thing that I get asked a lot is dizziness. So a lot of people will notice that when they stand up, they're a little bit dizzy. And I think that has to do with low blood sugar. So same type of thing, making sure that you're eating a little bit throughout the day. If you can't stomach a lot, a protein shake, a string cheese, a piece of turkey, a fruit, a clementine, you know, whatever, just something so that your blood sugar is not crashing all of the time. But staying vigilant on that will definitely help reduce the side effects. And to remember that when you go up in dosage, the side effects are always going to be worse for the first time that you take that dose. If you've been around, you know that when I went up to 10 milligrams the first time, I almost quit forever. I almost was like, scratch this, I'm done. I don't want to lose any more weight, never doing this again. But I stuck with it. I went through, and after like even the second week, the side effects were drastically better than they were the first week. So just keeping in mind and going into it aware that, hey, I'm going up from 5 to 7.5. This week will probably suck. Just having that mentality is going to make things a lot easier for you, I promise. Just having the mentality of knowing what is coming, it will help you a lot. And then I think those are all of the main questions. I'm trying to do this kind of off the top of my head because you know that's how I roll around here. But I think those are all of the main questions that I get asked. Most often I'm asked about like my weight and if I'm a diabetic and how much I pay for medicine, and if the coupon for $25 is still available, which obviously it is not, as I went over. I wish it still was, but it is not. So yeah, emoji of the day. Let's do a bicycle because it's summertime and we ride bikes in the summer and we want to be active and cool, right? So let's do a bicycle for the emoji of the day. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment below. If I did not answer one of your questions, if you have a question that I didn't address here, leave it down below and I will write back in the comment section. And until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day. The next video you will see will be that blood work video. Today is Monday, so I'm thinking that everything will get kind of processed in there today, and then I should be able to start putting that video together today or tomorrow. She's coming back. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.